Welcome to Talking with Tasja. This is more than a podcast. This is a safe space. A space where survivors of all types are welcomed, seen, and valued. Here, we don't just share stories, we share testimonies. Because a story can explain what happened, but a testimony declares what God brought you through. On this platform, freedom exists in honesty. Freedom exists in vulnerability. And freedom exists when we take the lessons we've learned the hard way and use them to help someone else avoid the same pitfalls. We believe there is power in saying, if I made it out, so can you. There is purpose in pain. And there's a healing when you realize that what tried to break you can actually be the very thing God uses to build someone else. Talking with Tasja was created from the belief that no experience is wasted. That broken places can produce beautiful purpose. And that survival is not the end of the story, freedom is. The Bible reminds us in Revelation 12 and 11 that they overcame him by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of their testimony. And that's exactly how this podcast started. With one testimony, one voice, one moment of courage, one decision to speak and not stay silent. So whether you're here to listen, learn, heal, or be reminded that you're not alone, welcome to Talking with Tasja. This is where pain meets purpose and testimonies change lives. Hey everybody, it's your girl Taj, and we are back for another episode of Talking with Tasja. I told you ever since I found that button, I'm using it. I am excited. If you are coming on, please don't be shy. Say hi. share with everyone you can. I know it's been a few weeks since I've been on. A lot of things have happened in a good way, in an amazing way. Um, for those who don't remember, or those who are new to the platform, I recently released my fourth book. And so now we are, let me see, we got 4 books. I had a book signing on February 28th. So that's why you haven't seen me as much, because I'm still recovering, child. That was a lot. Um, I wrote my fourth book. It's called No Longer My Secret. And it is my 5.5 year experience with domestic violence. And it's raw, honest truth. In the words of my niece, she said, it's very detailed. So you're going to hear the truth, the good, the bad, the ugly. And yeah. And also you're going to hear about hope. You're going to hear about transformation. And so it's an amazing book. It's called No Longer My Secret. You can catch it at natasjasharice.com. It'll be /books, but everything concerning me is on natasjasharice.com. And so we're really excited about that. Normally, the Talking with Tasja platform is about survivors and people who've gone through different life experiences coming on and sharing their testimony. Because I don't like to use the word story. For me, the word story means it's fictitious. So I just say your experience, right? And so with that, tonight is something different. And I'm excited about it. I think it's going to be very beneficial to everyone watching and coming on. And so I'm excited. This gentleman, I checked my email one day and they said this will be a great collaboration. And I was like, oh, okay. And so I went on his website, went on his social media. I was like, oh, he does a lot like me. So he is here to actually motivate us and to help us transform. He is an author. He is a speaker. He he does the daggone thing, right? And so I am excited to bring on to introduce to some and present to others none other than Mr. Corey Cofield. Yeah, let's give him a hand. I'm excited to have you here.
A round of applause.
Thank you so much for joining us tonight. I am
Thank you.
really excited.
Thank you for having me, and good job on the book. Congratulations on the book. Um,
Thank you.
I'm an author as well, and I know the process that goes behind it, releasing it, and just everything you go through to get it out. And so, congratulations and kudos to you for executing on what you know is inside of you. Right. So, great job.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Actually, I just got word today, everybody, because this is all new. I'm actually going to be at BookCon next month at the Jacob Javits Center.
Wow, that's huge.
Just got
That's
the email today. I was on the wait list and I left it over to God. I was like, all right, God, I tried. I launched out into the deep. It wasn't meant this time. I'm okay. Because this year they have something called Indie Valley for the independent authors. So instead of getting a humongous booth, you just, you get the table, you have your little space or whatever, but it's a good entryway. And so I'm excited. I'll be there next month.
You
All
should
4
be.
books.
And where is it? Where is it?
The Jacob Javits Center.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
That'll be
Awesome.
my second time at the Jacob Javits Center selling something that I've made. First time was my body butters. So this time it'll be my books. I'm excited. Okay, so enough about me. All right, Mr. Corey Cofield. I am excited. to have you on today. And so, in reading about you and learning about you, um, I was trying to come up with a topic today, and only one topic kept on, like flashing in my mind. And so tonight's topic is you're stronger than you think you are.
That's a good topic.
Yeah.
Good topic.
Um, with society, with everything going on in the world today, I feel like we all have to tap into a different kind of strength that we haven't experienced before. Um, one, let's be honest, being black in America with this kind of Cheeto looking president, um, regardless if you voted for him or if not, we all suffering. Let's be clear. Whatever side you on, we all suffering one way or another. Right? And I always tell people the second you born black in America, you need to automatically get free therapy because there's a certain level of trauma that you automatically experience.
Lord,
I'm just saying. It's a different kind of experience, right?
Yes.
In this society and how we are right now, I think we do need to tap into a strength that we may not have experienced before. So I think tonight will be very beneficial in encouraging the listeners and the watchers because this is also going to go on Spotify.
Okay, go.
Yeah, I have a Spotify, which I don't promo often. I need to. So for those who'll be watching and or listening, um, we're gonna tonight. I feel like tonight's gonna be about a lot of encouragement, and so I'm down with that. So for our audience who may not know you, who may have heard you, this is their first time hearing about you. Introduce yourself. Tell them who you are.
Hello, everybody. My name's Corey Cofield, and I'm a transformational guide. I help people find their passion, and then I give them detailed steps on how to get to it, right? And so, my testimony, not story, it just comes from basically this topic as we talking about just finding out that I was stronger than I really thought I was, battling so many self-conscious issues from my just battling. See, back when I'll be 54 in May, and back in the day, I grew up in the era of El DeBarge and Al B. Sure and all these guys, and all the women loved them and stuff. So my little ashy self coming along, all dark, I used to get terrorized, right, for my complexion, and it built up so much self-conscious wall in me on my appearance and everything else. And on top of that, I end up flunking the first grade, right? So how you flunk the first grade, right? I couldn't scrabble, right? Like that was crazy, right? So with that, flunking the first grade was a big deal because I got a twin brother and he went on. And so now I'm in the same grade and he's moved up, and it just created this whole thing in me. And battling with the dark skin complexion and all that, it just made me self-conscious in so many ways, and it gave me this whole thing of not just believing in myself, and it put so much on me to get over. And then on top of that, I end up getting molested, and that whole thing piled on top of everything else. It just created this person that was so in a bubble, so held back. And once I started doing the work subconsciously to reprogram my mind and to get a better vision about myself, I just saw the work that went into it. And it took so much. And after, I like to say I haven't arrived, but I left, right? So I haven't gotten to that point, but I'm well on my way. But in that process, I just started thinking, like, how many other people are going through this? How many other people are battling the same things that I'm battling, and maybe not know how to get out of it. And so that led me to like doing a lot of research on how to reprogram the subconscious mind, knowing as a man thinks, so he is, and everything that the Bible spoke about in your belief system creates your life. I started to really see like, wow, how I'm thinking is creating this paradigm that I'm living in. And so I went on a mission to change it. And it's probably been about 15 years now. Like I said, I haven't arrived, but I left. But that really motivated me to say I can help other people. And if anybody else out there is feeling like I felt, and if anybody's dealing with the stuff that I dealt with, I want to be able to help them. And so once you get that thought, the next thing you know, your life starts to line up. People start coming in, you start coming in contact with people that need you and that you need. And so from there, it just started developing. And before I knew it, I was just helping people. And it all started with me telling what happened to me, my testimony. And as the Bible says that people overcome by their word and of their testimony. And so that's who I am. And I'm glad to be here with you today.
Well, thank you so much. Well, you kind of jumped in on it. When we talk about transformation and we talk about change, what does that mean to you, both spiritually and personally?
Well, it's important. It means a lot because I call myself a transformational guy because motivation leaves, right? You can be motivated for one day and next day you're not, right? But normally something that transforms, it stays that way, right? And so transformation is super important to me. And I feel like it's the genesis to everything, right? And once you transform your state of thinking and your thought process, everything else follows. Because literally, as you think, so you are. And once I started to really see, like, wow, I'm building this whole wall in my mind about what people think about me based upon what I thought about myself. And then I was experiencing that, right? So I don't know if you ever heard of, it's called, every person has it. It's called your reticular activating system. Reticular activating system. Viewers, if you haven't heard that, I would highly suggest that you go research that. But your reticular activating system is based at the base of your brain, right? And it's shaped like kind of like a little peanut, right? It's really small, but it acts as your brain's manager, right? So what it does, this is super important, and it just shows how powerful and great that Yahweh is, right? And so what the reticular activating system does, it ciphers all the information that you get, right? So even right now, as we sit here talking, if I mention it, you right away, if I mention what's in your peripheral, right away, that'll come. You can start seeing out of your peripheral. But before, it wasn't a focus, right? That's your reticular activating system. What it does is it sifts through every bits. We get millions and millions of bits of information in our eyes, our eye gates, every second, in our ear gates. And what the reticular activating system does, it sifts through all this information, and it locates what's important, and those are the things it saves. But what's so amazing about it is once it realizes something important to you, it then starts to point out every circumstance in which that thing is. So just say, for instance, it's if you buy a red car, next thing you know, you start seeing all these red cars. That's your reticular activating system showing you these things because it knows that that's important to you. But this is the key. How it knows what's important is about what you think about most, right? So if you're in your car every morning, you say, these people can't drive. I can't stand. I'm in Los Angeles, right? And so it's always crazy traffic. And I started to notice when I got in my car, I say, these people can't drive. Now your reticular activating system is going to show you every instance that that's true, because it's going to make whatever you think true, it's going to bring it to you. It's like a magnet, right? So if you say, if you think about, and that's why the Bible even talks about, let the weak say I'm strong, right? Speak those things as not as though they are, right? And that's why we don't say we're broke. That's we don't say we're poor, we're sick. All these things that your reticular activating system sees and you think about, it starts to bring it true in your life. And so once I started to realize, like, wow, this thing works like this, I started to reprogram my mind to see, only see what I wish to experience, right? That's what I say. I only see what I wish to experience. So I started to say, no. I started to catch these thoughts, as the Bible say, take captive every thought that edifies itself against what? The glory of God, right? So God, Yah has been really telling us this for years, that we have to control our thoughts. We have to control what we allow in our mind, because that creates our life, right? And so transformation to me is mandatory, because once you start to reprogram your thoughts and how you think, that pours out in your life and you start to experience those things. So like he said, that the weak say I'm strong, right? And so by your reticular activating system say, oh, you're strong, you're strong. Next thing you know, it starts to bring more of that into your life. But if you say, hey, I'm sick and I'm this and I'm that, next thing you know, those things start to show up in your life every second, right? So it's mandatory to me that we transform our thoughts. Now, this thing is spiritually and physically. It all wraps up into one, because if you can't see yourself physically in a new state, you can really never see yourself spiritually. And this is why you see people that go through this whole up and down thing when it comes to Yahweh, right? Every Sunday, like we grew up in the Church of God in Christ, right? So every Sunday.
I get it.
Okay. So every Sunday,
I'm Project Born.
Word? Okay. So we saw the same people at the altar every Sunday. The same people up there, Tarian and all this stuff, right? But, they saw themselves as this, right? And next thing you know, it created more of that in their life. So once I transform my thoughts and I say, wait, I am redeemed. Wait, the grace is here, right? I don't have to work for this, right? Righteousness is by faith and not by works, like Abraham said. Right. And so once I started to see all these things, it gave me a secure relationship with Yah. And before I knew it, I started to change. And what I realized is good behavior is not a prerequisite for a relationship with Yahweh. It's not a prerequisite, right? But it is a product of it produces after that, right? And so once you gain this relationship, then your behavior and the different things start to change. But a lot of people try to come and change themselves and then come to him and say, okay, I'm ready. But he say, no, that's a filthy rags, right? And so it's mandatory to transform our thoughts and to transform everything in us in order to have a real relationship where you're solid, right? Let nothing separate us from the love of Yah. And I feel like that's how important transformation is, and that's how necessary it is. I know that was a long answer, but
I'm down with it. It makes sense to me, because I always said, because God created the human body. Because there was one moment where I personally experienced that, right? So when it comes to trauma, there's a point in trauma that when a person, it's usually a child, when a child has been traumatized, and the body or the brain can't handle it, it suppresses the memory until the body or brain realizes that it's able to handle it, and then it releases the memory back. Maybe I started writing my book maybe 8 years ago, the last book. And I was praying. I would always pray and ask God to take me to that memory, but cover me in it. so I don't re-traumatize myself. But he showed me something that I never remembered. Like I never remembered. And I came out and I asked, I was being trained on domestic violence, and I asked, I was like, can you gaslight yourself? And the lady started laughing. She was like, no. She said, but I know you're a spiritual person. So what happened? So I told her, I was like, I prayed. The Lord showed me this. I don't know what it means. And she said, okay. She said, unfortunately, that means that situation did happen to you. However, because your brain could not handle it at the moment, it suppressed it. And now your body and your brain feels like it can handle it. She said, this is where God and science come together. I said, well, God is science. He created it. He created the human body. He created the people to be able to understand what's going on in the brain so we can know about it now. And she was like, exactly. So when you say that, I always say, like, if I get a new car, then all of a sudden I see that car even more on the road. I was like, those cars always been there, but why now? Is it that now I'm just paying attention to that particular car? But now you put language to it. So thank you.
Your reticular activating system. That's
Reticular activating system.
RAS.
Wait, look, I'm about to say, let me, yeah, RAS.
Right, and it's you can look on YouTube. There's so much stuff that breaks it down like in so much detail. But once I saw that, I'm like, wow, the mind, we are so powerful. And it just goes to the topic. You're really stronger than you think you are, right? Like it's so much going on right now. So much going on. We got a lot of people running around in fear. But the verse that I keep thinking of, right? What holds me every day is he said that 1,000 can fall at your left and 10,000 to your right, but it won't come near you, right? And so we got to realize that, right? These things has to happen. And what Yahweh told me the other day, he said, I haven't lost control. And it just made me cry. I was in my car and I was just like, thank you, thank you, thank you. Just out of worship, I was just so excited because he said it clear as day. I haven't lost control. So the enemy loves to puff up. He loves back in the day, it used to be this little kid, this commercial where this kid used to act like he was going to run away. And he stood at the door. He was like, I'm leaving. I'm going. I'm leaving. He telling his mom, but he got his little bag, but he don't really want to go. But he's like making this scene like he really want to smoke, but he really don't, right? And that's how the enemy is. Like he already know that he can't win. He already know it's done, right? It's finished. And so we need to really stand on that. We need to really know that I look to prosper you and not harm you. These are the things that was shared with us so that we can know in these times that this stuff must happen. These things has to happen, right? Our president and everything he's doing and all this stuff that is happening, it has to happen because it has to be a awakening to be able to chase people back to the truth, right? And when I hate to say it, but most people learn through loss. It's scientifically proven that people really don't learn lessons until they lose or are hurt by something. And that's what creates change and make you listen. So a lot of this stuff has to happen so that people can go back to the source, right? And I think, and it's happening more than ever. People are looking like, what can I turn to? But you could turn to a foundation that won't change. And this is not a religious thing, right? So growing up in the Church of God in Christ, I saw a lot of religion. I saw a lot of going through the motions to be able to look like a certain way, but really you doing other stuff, right? And I lived like that for a long time, right? I had a great fall. I was a praise and worship leader for 10 years in a big ministry, and I fell right on my face, and it ended up messing up my marriage. It ended up, a lot of stuff happened, but that was the darkest time of my life, right? I got put out the church. which is crazy because at the end of the day, what happened, I told on myself, like literally. I went, I couldn't hold it no more. I went and confessed, I told everything on myself. And for me to end up saying, okay, you got to go, which I understand because I was a leader. You know, I was really, next to the pastor. So it was a lot of trust and different things that was broken. But to me, even the Bible says, if your brother fall, you have not, you restore him, right? And so this is what I was looking for, but it didn't happen. Before I knew it, I was on the outside, and that time was some of the darkest times I ever had. But that's when I really realized that I was stronger than I thought, because that's when, like the footsteps in the sand, when he picked, when he talks about how, well, Lord, when I was hurting, we was walking and I only saw one footprint. I only saw one set of footprints, and the poem goes to say, well, that's when I was carrying you, right? You saw one set, you thought it was yours, but no, it was me. I was carrying you, and this is what we need to lean more to. And in that darkest time of my life is when I got the closest, right? When all religion was stripped away from me. I used to have a prayer line at 5 a.m. with men all over the world calling in, right? I started another prayer line in Detroit, and that's still going to this day. It's been 17 years. My twin brother, he picked it up, and he still has been going with it, but it's been 17 years. So all this stuff I used to do, I got self-righteous. I was thinking, like, I used to ask people, what time do you pray? What time do you get up? People, about 9. I'm like, what? Like, if you don't get up in the fourth watch between 3 and 6, like, what are you doing? Like, all this stuff, right? And I just had to fall on my face, because it's not by my works that I should boast, right? And so y'all had to show me, like, no, brother, it's the grace. It's the grace. Like Paul said, the thorns I have in my side, you won't remove them. He say, why? The Lord say, why not? He said, because my grace is sufficient, right? So we have to stop leaning on our own righteousness. We have to stop leaning on our tithes, our giving, and all this stuff, and thinking that's creating a relationship with Yah, because it really don't. And anything you put in front of Christ to try to gain a relationship with the Father, you become an antichrist. Why? Because you're trying to put what you did in front of what Christ done. And the only reason why we're justified is because of what he done, right? And so when you put your works in front of that, when you put your tithes in front of that, when you put your service in front of that, then you try to kill what he done, which makes you anti-Christ, right? And so before I knew it, I was living in a bunch of religion and a bunch of thinking I deserved it because I had all these prayer things. I was on a praise and worship team. We was putting out records, we was writing songs, all this stuff. But when I fell on my face, none of that was there. And the only thing I had was to just go before him and say, here I am, broken, and all messed up. But that's when he came even closer to me. And it was just amazing, right? And I haven't turned back, right? I haven't turned back. And I'm careful not to fall into religion now and get to judging people and thinking what they're doing and all this stuff. It's just like, listen, by the grace of God, there goes I. But I just keep pressing forward,
Yeah. While you was talking, one scripture came to my mind. I was like, well, haughtiness comes before a great fall. And when I say I understand when the fall comes, I get it. When I was married, I was very dogmatic. I was under a very dogmatic leader. And we thought that because, this person was preaching all around the world and we was getting fed the best in church, that, where we came from, wasn't good enough. And, you don't despise the small beginnings, right? We thank God for foundation. Even if you grow from it, you don't go back and minimalize it. Right. And so I was losing my witness with my family. with my cousins. We all grew up in church, but they didn't want to go to church because they didn't appreciate how I acted. I had no balance in life. It was church, 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 church. I see you drinking. What you drinking for? What you living with your boyfriend for? You going to hell? Stop having all those. Like, I was so judgmental. Jesus have mercy.
Lord.
I was so freaking judgmental until a rude awakening hit me good. And when I say hit me good, literally and figuratively, literally, everything I did not want to become, I became. And I'm like, Jesus. And when I say I learned through that loss, there's a certain level of grace that I can give certain. I ain't gonna say everybody get grace. I'm gonna be honest. A certain when you're intentional about being malicious and deceitful, I don't give you grace for that. I tell God to go and get you like He did the people in the Old Testament. I'm not there yet. Look, God help me. That deceitful maliciousness and deceptiveness, I can't get with that. However, let God handle you. But when it's like little things, I give grace to things, right? And to people because He gave me grace. Right? And so when you learn through the loss,
you learn. You really do.
You learn. You definitely do learn. And so in your transformation journey, what do you think the difference is between transformation and behavior change?
Well, behavior change is temporary. It's like, when we was younger, when we would be acting up, showing out, and when mom would come in the room, you would get a behavior change. Everybody's like, but there's no transformation because soon she leave, we back at it, right? So that's the difference. It's like behavior change. I feel like it's temporary, and it can easily go right back, right? You showing out, right? Soon as you ever been driving and you speeding and you're on the freeway, next thing you know, you see the highway patrol. What happens? You slow down. You get
All
back
the time.
You get right back to 70, like, ooh, that's a behavior change, right? Because it's something there that made you do it.
Right.
But hey, soon as that highway patrol exit and go up that exit, we back on the gas, right? I'm back out and I'm mad at him, like, why you slow me down?
Literally.
Yeah, like, you have to be on this freeway,
Right.
So I feel like the transformation, once again, is it really lasts, right? You think of a butterfly, you think of a caterpillar transforming into a butterfly. It don't go back, right? It operates as a butterfly from then on out. And so I feel like transformation means you change completely, right? You turn into something else, and then you operate in that something else. Where behavior change can be temporary. Some may cause you to have a temporary change of behavior, but it's nothing that's solid and permanent, and you'll be right back in it soon as the opportunity shows itself. So transformation in me, excuse me, got a little allergies, but transformation in me is in most cases permanent, and it's from the inside out, right? Whereas in behavior change, it's just outside. You just change the outside. You may change what you're doing at that moment. You see the pastor coming, so you throw the cigarette away. I don't smoke. As soon as he leave, you packing the pack again, right? So yeah, so me, that's what I feel about that.
Yeah, it brings to mind the scripture that says, we're a new creation, all things are passed away. And behold, all things become new. Right? I think my pastor was talking about it in that last Bible study that I went to, that If he's still on, he could put it in the chat. Um, when you become new, when you're a new creation or a new creature, there is no returning back to the old. Like there should not be a possibility of the old coming back. Because think about it, when the caterpillar becomes a butterfly, it has no chance. It
No.
went through such a vigorous process in order to become something new. Why would you then want to go back?
Right.
All
And
the
the
hell,
ability,
all the life lessons you've learned, all the praying, the fasting, all of the therapy, all of the hurtful things that you either done or someone has done to you. Um, why would you then want to go back to that?
it's like a
So
dog turning to his vomit, as another scripture.
exactly, right? For what? Um, and it makes me think, right? Tying in with the topic, you're stronger than you think you are. Why do you think people in the transformation process, because I feel like transformation and strength go hand in hand, because you have to find a certain strength in order to, one, want to transform, and two, remain in that transformative state, right? You have to realize that it's not worth going back, and that takes a certain level of strength, right? Why do you think people don't think it's worth it? Like, why do you think they may not think the transformation is worth it, and they may not feel like they have the strength to do it?
Well, I don't know if I'll say that people don't think it's worth it, but I think that sometimes people don't want to really do the work, right? And they can't say they can't see the work, right? Even myself, that I'm trying I don't like to say the word trying, right? So I'm working on getting a 6-pack, or I'll even take a 4-pack at this point, right? Or 2-pack. Just get this off me, right? And so it's like I know the benefits and I know what has to happen, but
Mhm.
when that alarm clock go off and I'm like, okay, it's 4 a.m. Get up, do your sit-ups, push up, do this stuff. It's like, do I want to do the work, even though I know that the work works and I know what it takes, but do I really want to do it? And I think uh, some people are um, they just don't want to put the work in. They don't really want to. I got a friend of mine, and she calls it the work. Right? People don't want to do the work, and in order to change, it takes that. You really have to do the work. You have to do the subconscious work. You got to do the physical work. You gotta change your thoughts and your mind, and it's literally every second thing, right? Even the Bible says, take captive every thought that edifies itself above the knowledge of God, right? So every thought. So that means we got hundreds of thousands of thoughts every day, right? And most people don't really realize, but more than 80% of those thoughts are reoccurring, right? So every single day you get thousands of thoughts, but over, I think it's 87% or higher of those thoughts are reoccurring. So you having the same thoughts every day, and as you think you are, right? And so, people wonder why we stay in the same place. But my thing is this: what I suggest for people to do, and what I had to do is, your passion will create your provision, right? This is something that God told me. Your passion will create your provision, and that's why I wrote my book, Follow Your Yellow Brick Road. Your passion leads to your provision, because I feel like your call is your filter. Your call is your battery pack. Your call is your sifter, right? So the more you do what you're called to do, the more that you go down the lane you're supposed to go down, it's conducive to you meeting the people that you meant to meet, right? And so that's why it's important that we all get after what we're supposed to do, because you know Your dream is God's way of getting his ideas into the world, right? Think of that. So Yahweh is not going to come down here himself, or he's not going to come do it himself, but he's going to put an idea in the hearts of his people. So when he placed that idea into you, start that podcast. If you don't execute that, now you're holding up your whole path, right? But if you do execute that, down that road, down that yellow brick road, you meet the people conducive to helping you change. So that's why it's important for us to do what we're called to do what we've been called, to do your dream, because your dream is your sifter. Your dream, it siphons out all the BS, all the stuff that you shouldn't be involved in, right? So think about this. Dorothy in The Wizard in the Wiz, the more she went down the yellow brick road, the more she met everybody conducive to her getting home. But the minute she stepped off the yellow brick road, what happened? She bumped into flying monkeys and wicked witches, right? Right? How many wicked witches we done bumped in our lives, right? Flying monkeys. But just ask yourself, were you in your call when you met them people? Were you doing what you were supposed to be doing? Were you where you were supposed to be? And a lot of times we're not, right? But if you get in that call, see, everything we need, like just think of an apple seed, right? An apple seed, a little bitty apple seed has everything in it at the beginning. This is so powerful because Yahweh is so amazing. Everything he creates, he put the end in the beginning. Everything ever created, he put the end in the beginning, right? So this apple seed, even though it's an apple seed, inside of that apple seed is the bark, the leaves, the tree. It's enough to start an apple orchard, right? So unless it's planted, everything stays inside of it. But the moment that you plant it, everything that it needs to survive is in it. We are the same way. He made us the same way. Everything you need to be who you need to be is in you. Every gift he put in you, every idea, every dream, he put it there to bring you to a certain place. That's why he say what? The righteous man's steps are what? Ordered, right? Your steps are ordered. It's because he said, okay, I need you to do a certain thing. So now he put this idea in you for the podcast, for the books. He put all this stuff in you. Why? Because these things create your provision, not only financially, but also what you need to be spiritually sound. So when you put your gift down, you walking away from Yah. And that's why I say make America dream again, because the dream is wrapped into Yahweh. Yahweh is wrapped in our dreams. He put his ideas into the hearts of his people. He said, Corey, I need you to go tell people, get back to their dreams, get back to their life, get back to what you were called to do, right? So these things come along in life that steal our dreams slowly but surely. And I had a teacher, a third grade teacher, her name was Miss Cash. She whispered in my ear and told me, she said, you're not going to be SH. She literally said that to me in my ear, right? And that created something in me before I know it. I'm like, I'm battling all this stuff, right? But the more I realized that my calling is wrapped in my dream. So it's imperative that we get back to what we love. What stole your dream? I'm talking to somebody here. What stole your dream? Was it your husband? Was it your wife? Was it a relationship? Was it a job? Something came and stole that dream. But if you think about it, back in the day, if you were a tent maker, that was your dream. That was your gift. And what does the Bible say? Your gift will make room for you and put you before great. Right. And so this is what he's saying. My message to everyone listening is to get back to your dream, to get back to what you were called to do, because your call is your sifter. It's your battery pack. It's your energy. It's what grabs you out of bed every day and drag you out to bed, right? So when I get up in the morning, I jump up. I'm happy. Why? Because I know I'm going after this. I'm going after my dream. I'm going after what he put me here to do. But so many people have walked away from their dream for one reason or the other. and they're doing what they have to do to survive. You were never meant to live like that. You weren't meant to live like that. Like I said, if you were a tent maker back in the day, that was your gift. And guess what? Your whole family lived from that. If you was the king's jester, the comedian back then, that was your gift, and your gift provided for you. But some way along the way, people put down their dreams and they started working for another man's dream. Now I get it. Sometimes you got to do what you got to do, but you were never meant to put down what you was called to do, right? What made us do that? Walmart was a dream. All these places, all these things is somebody's dream. Somebody thought it is. Ford Motor Company was a man's dream. And now millions of people work for it every day. But it was never meant for you to put down what you were called to do, because your passion will create your provision. Your dreams will create your path. And the more you go after that path, the more it's going to connect you with the right people, right? That's how I connected with you, right? My team started just putting out email blasts like to everybody. And after that, guess what? If you wasn't doing what you were supposed to do, they never would have found your platform. But they really good. They search all kind of platforms. They said, who's doing what? Who aligns with what Corey's doing? So let's reach out to every person. And I got a lot of things coming up and a lot of things that I've done based upon that, right? But it's all in my calling and it's all in my path.
That's amazing. You over here preaching, Corey.
Here we go. I'm telling you, I'm trying not to take over the whole thing.
Maybe there's another call that you need to answer, sir.
Well, I'm doing it in my way, right? So I've always heard, my father was a pastor. I got my mom's missionaries. We got bishops. My whole family is heavily into the church, right? But I realize my call is not necessarily in the church. It's outside the church, but I'm bringing the message. I'm pointing people right back to the source, right? And that's all he wants us to do. Just point them to me, and I'll do the rest.
That's all that matters. I get it. Both my parents are preachers too, so I get it. Church babies.
Front row. Hey, it wasn't no iPads back then. You wasn't.
No, you have to be up in church.
What my dad, you fall asleep. My dad had a look from the pulpit. We in that mug like, you couldn't even go to sleep. Now kids be knocked out in the church.
She would come and knock us upside our head.
You ever been mowed? They call it mowed when they take the knuckling.
My mama was the usher.
Oh, it's over. It's over. You couldn't do nothing.
She would take my ear and twist it if she saw me talking too much or falling asleep.
Did she have the white gloves on?
The whole usher uniform. Nurse shoes, white OPEC stocking. She still has it too. My mother still has the outfit.
Had a little nurse hat on. I'm trying to drink the juice.
She wasn't the nurse. She was just the usher. She just got the uniform, the gloves, the OPEC stockings, and the shoes. The nurse shoes. Yeah, she ain't do all that.
Shout out to your mom, man. Shout out to her.
She was an amazing usher though. That's how I learned how to usher. I used to be a junior usher too. But Church Kids Unite. That's a whole nother podcast right by itself. But we also know that you are an author, right? And so as an author, we know that transformation, of course, is your message, and it's clear and it's abundant. But what's the message that you're most burdened to leave with your readers?
Is don't believe the hype. What I mean by that is don't believe what people say, right, about you. And I mean that in the best way possible, right? Because people really don't see you who you are, right? People will hold you to the same thing that they knew you in 20 years ago, right? I got some people haven't really been around me in over 20 years, and they'll still think that I'm on the same thing as before. So I would say, let your path create who you are. Let your destiny create who you are, and don't let people put their thoughts on you. Don't let people tell you who they think you are, and you succumb to that. So my message in all my books, I got 4 books as well. So I was like, wow, good job on that, right? And so in all my books, it all comes back down to being your powerful self. And even the subject, you stronger than you think you are, is all about empowering the belief in yourself, right? And more than that, the belief in who called you, right? And so and that's what I would say. Just dig deep down in yourself and really just ask yourself this: if money wasn't an issue, if everything I needed was taken care of, what is it that I would wake up and do every day? Right? That's the question I ask, my clients, the people who I guide. I'm saying, what would you do? Right? And so I feel like I said, most people have walked away from their passion and their dreams for one reason or the other. So my whole message is to dream again. Dream again. Dust off that gift, right? We got people that's watching this, people that's going to watch this, that they got books that should have been out. We got people that know that movie, that script, you should have been wrote it, right? You should have been open that business. But you allowing what other people think that won't work to make you stop doing what you're called to do. But you can't do that. You can't do that. You can't allow what didn't work for someone else to make you not do it yourself, right? And so my message is super simple. Dream again. Get back to it. Get back to what you love. And 2 things. If you got a dream, 1, it was meant for you to do it. And 2, it was absolutely meant to work. Everything you touch will turn to gold, but you just have to do it. You have to move past. Execution is one of the biggest things that holds people back. They got books, they got all this stuff, but they don't execute. They don't do it, right? But when we do it, that's when everything changes. And just know, everything don't come together overnight. Sometimes you fall on your face, but you got to get up. Like what it said, just man falleth 7 times, but then he get back up. He get back up. He get back up. And that's what my message is to every viewer that's watching this, and every person that's going to watch it is coming up. Get back on what you called to do. And one good thing that I would say is check your environment. Check who you're around. Check the closest people to you. See what they're on, right? See what they're on. Are they executing? Are they sitting up watching? I had this young lady a while ago that, I was interested in her, and we went out on a couple of dates, and she was like, she said, have you saw Power? And I was like, Power? I'm like, nah, I ain't watching. What? You haven't watched Power? What rock are you under? And she went through all this stuff about telling me why I'm not sitting to watch it. And I'm looking at her like, have you done everything you called to do in your life? And you sitting there watching hundreds of hours of episodes of something else? Like, I couldn't understand, but she couldn't understand where I was. And I'm just like, that let me know we were unequally yoked, because her mind started going, what next episode of a series she's watching, and I'm thinking, what next series that I can write, right? What else can I do that's in me? Just the other day, I'm driving, I'm just asking Yahweh, I'm saying, what else? What else? What have you called me to do? What else? I want to execute on everything you told me to do, right? So you got to watch the people around you. You got to watch, and it can even be family, right? But this is one thing my mentor told me. He said, in order to lead an orchestra, you have to turn your back to the crowd, right? And I said, wow, that's so true. Sometimes you're going to have to turn your back on family. Sometimes you're going to have to turn your back on best friends. Sometimes you have to turn your back on the people that was closest to you to get what you need to get done. I don't mean you can't go back. I mean, you can't revisit that. But if they're not operating at a high level, right? If I meet a female and she started talking low vibrational talk, she started talking about other people and all this foolishness, I start bagging out right away because I know I can't connect to that. Our energy not together, right? What fellowship does darkness have with light? How can the blind lead the blind? They're both fall in a ditch, right? So I start really viewing who's around me. Who am I talking to every day? What are they talking about? Right? So you got to monitor the people around you, monitor their lives, because statistically proven, you only make 5 to 10,000. It's really 5 higher than the closest people to you. So if you around a bunch of low vibrational people that's not out here doing nothing, you're gonna be the same way. And so you gotta really secure your life, and you gotta make the hard decisions to cut people off and cut things off that's not conducive to you moving forward. If somebody can't help you jump the line, if they can't help me be better and be a better person, what are we talking for? Right? And sometimes I can be a little harsh, but at the end of the day, when you die, it's 1 to a box. It's 1 to a box. And when you stand before that, he's gonna say, "What did you do? Did you do everything I had you to do for this life? Depart from me, I never knew you." Right? So I don't want to hear those words. So I'm executing on every single thing, right? And so that kind of went off a little bit, but
no, because I'm like, oh, that's a Selah moment. You might as well give the benediction.
help me, Lord.
Just come to Jesus if you're not saved. Romans 10:9-10 says. But no, I've thoroughly enjoyed this conversation. This has been an amazing conversation about transformation, about change. I told you in the beginning, I was like, I feel like this is going to be a really encouraging episode, and it definitely was. You said my favorite word in the beginning, which was paradigm. I love that word. And I believe paradigm shifts should happen often. Because every time God gives you a revelation of something, it should shift your paradigm. And yeah, that's just one of my favorite words. But you actually said a word my boss has been saying to me. We was talking, and he always asks me, he was like, "Why do you work here? Why do you work here?" And I'm like, yeah, I pay for my health insurance. That's why. That's why I'm working here. like health insurance is expensive. Y'all paying for my health insurance. That's why I'm working here. But he always tells me, the last thing he said to me, because he's out on paternity leave. His wife just had a baby. And he said, "Natasha, I want a 3 to 5 year business plan from you. It's time for you to execute. Now, this is a white Albanian man. He's only a year older than me. He was like, "I got LLCs out the wazoo, and I ain't doing nothing with them." I said, "Well, give them to me. Let me make some money off of them."
Especially if they're aged. Come on. So get that trade line on there.
Thank you. But he was like, "It's time to execute." And that's one of the last conversations we had until he went on leave. And so for you to say that, it was like another. I always say God like has to punch me in the back in order to push me to do something else. And so that's what it was for me tonight. So I would say thank you. For everyone who is just joining, it's been some fluctuation in viewage. But 1, thank you for coming on. 2, all the information in order to get in contact with Mr. Corey Cofield is in the description of the video, whether on Facebook or YouTube. And if you have not subscribed to the YouTube channel, please head over to YouTube and just type in "Talking with Tasja." I could use all the subscribers and all the viewage possible. Because your girl's trying to monetize. Because we trying to fire the boss. That's what we trying to do. All right. We're trying to fire the boss. Um, and also for those who are book heads, um, join me next month. I will be at the Jacob Javits Center April 18th and 19th at the BookCon. Uh, right, BookCon. Yeah, BookCon. I'll be in the Indie Valley. That's for the independent writers who are not attached to publishers because I'm gonna end up having my own publishing company anyway. Um, so yeah, so I'm excited about that. And stay attached, stay connected, and again, all the information for Mr. Corey Cofield is in the description box. Corey, do you have any last words?
Absolutely, absolutely. Um, my motto is "Make America Dream Again," right? And I feel like that's the most important things we can do. Just want to show a few of my products. We got a children's book we finished called "Dream Copious Dream," teaching kids how to manifest and live their life. That's on Amazon. You know, my book "Follow Your Yellow Brick Road: Your Passion Leads to Your Provision." That's on Amazon. We also have a workbook right here, right?
Okay.
And it's all this all the stuff. Like I said, go to CoreyCofield.com, or you can look up It's Corey Cofield on all our social media platforms. I so appreciate you guys, and I would say get to it. Time is at hand. That you got to get to what you called to do, and what you called to do is gonna put you in the right place, and it's gonna connect you with the right people. So dream big and don't stop dreaming. That's all I have.
That is amazing. So y'all go to CoreyCofield.com, right? That's it?
Yep. That's
Okay.
it.
Go over there. Go get his books for you, your children, your friends, your loved ones, everybody you feel like may possibly have any kind of stagnation in their life and they need a boost. They need to be transformed. The Bible said you're supposed to be transformed by the renewing of your mind. So
Mm.
change their mind, get their mind together. Might help make your life a little bit easier. All right, everybody, thank you so much. You're going to catch us next Monday, same time, same place. We actually have a another guy coming on next week. The fellas are stepping up. He's going to be talking about the male side of domestic violence and how it ties into narcissism in the church. It's going to be a lot. Yeah,
Woo.
it's about to be heavy next week. So stay on the lookout on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. And just yeah, we see you next week. Love you guys.
Appreciate y'all. Y'all day.